A woman's criteria for a perfect man changes as she grows older, matures. I've talked plenty about dating and the situation that we have at hand, specifically how digitization, social media in particular, has affected the game, has affected the ways that men and women meet each other. It's a very noticeable 180. If previously we did everything through friends and family who could suggest and throw in some words for a potential partner, nowadays we do everything through social media, through internet. I remember using Tinder back in 2015, and it doesn't seem so long ago, but I've heard some people telling that it's kind of weird to meet others through internet, through dating apps. They felt it was beneath them. Well, don't you have any social skills whatsoever? But the reality is it's not about that. It's about time efficiency. This has our attention much more than friends, family, and everything else that comes after. I found a video from a girl that I've never seen before, but her titling was very intriguing. So I thought I would give it a chance and dissect her thoughts about why modern men are so unattractive for modern women. Let's go.
Today I'm going to be talking about things women find unattractive in modern day men. Number 1, men who are in touch with their feminine side. Now this might be a little bit controversial, but no woman wants to be dating another woman the same way that a man wouldn't want to date another man. Meaning, if a guy has really feminine traits, it feels like a girl is dating another girl, whereas if a guy is dating a woman with very masculine traits, it's like a man's dating another man. And no one wants that when they're trying to date the opposite gender.
I mean, I could agree with that, but there are other women who would like to have emotional guys because they have tried already this thing with bad boys and they want to switch up for the purposes of a contrast, try something totally opposite. But the reality is there's a thing which is called biology. We can try to fight it, we can try to socially override it, but there will always be something deep down in yourself that will whisper into your soul that something isn't right. When you're told by society to do one thing and the outcome, the results are totally the opposite of what you were promised. Like I said before, I have talked about dating, attraction, the things that make us come together in previous videos. And one of the biggest things for people to come together, and not just only in heterosexual relationships, is polarity. There has to be a leader, there has to be a follower, dom and sub. And this is not about tyranny, it's about our nature and feeling good about our roles.
So some examples of the modern day men being in touch with their feminine side is like the whole men who paint their fingernails. I know e-boys is a huge thing right now on TikTok and such, but that is a very feminine thing to do. And most girls, if they're not into the e-boy thing, will not want a man with painted fingernails. Again, with modern day men being in touch with their feminine side, very commonly guys now are almost overly emotional or like overly sensitive because they're very understanding now and they try to care a lot.
I haven't watched the whole video and I haven't watched her content, but I would assume that one thing she doesn't grasp with attraction, the criteria for women and being attracted to a certain type of person changes as she grows older, matures, and becomes a different person. Whereas men always find the same type of criteria attractive, regardless of age, wisdom, wealth, status, and other stuff. So in this case, when she mentions e-boys, it's always young girls who find those kind of attributes somewhat attractive. They enter puberty, they start to sexualizing themselves, and they want someone who has similar attributes, qualities as they have, which is being sensitive, kind, likes to listen, want to do similar girly stuff, being feminine. But as they grow older, they realize that's not very attractive to them because they want to have polarity, something that opposes them in their own nature, which makes it exciting.
Because they think that they're supposed to care about things that most people don't really care about. So it just gives them more feminine qualities. And again, no girl wants to date another girl. Number 2 is pick-me boys. Now I talked about pick-me boys a little bit in the last video I did for Casey, but a lot of people in the comments didn't really know what a pick-me boy was. Now, a lot of times, guys talk about girls that fish for compliments and they say it's unattractive. Now, a pick-me boy is a guy who's fishing for compliments. If they are snapping you or texting you or talking to you even and saying, oh my god, I'm just so ugly, it's because they want you to call them cute or attractive. Or a pick-me boy is a guy saying, no one's ever going to want to date me.
This also goes back being those kind of guys who flash in front of her eyes because she's not interested of older men. Yet, she looks like she's in her teenage years, but generally speaking, women want to date someone who is at least 4 to 7 years older. And pick me boys is something that you do maybe when you're younger than 20. I wouldn't think that 30-year-old guys would fish for attention. And this also goes together with her first point, men being feminine, in touch with their feelings. Femininity is about craving and wanting attention. When guys do that, it sends a very opposed reaction, demonstrates insecurity, weakness, which is okay in very small doses in women, but is seen as to being something unattractive in guys. Women craving and wanting attention is totally fine. Of course, there are certain degrees of that kind of a behavior, but men doing the same thing is weird and unappealing for women.
If you keep talking like that, no one really is gonna wanna date you. This type of talking makes men seem extremely unconfident, and everyone knows that confidence is something that is extremely attractive. So if you say these things, it looks like you're tearing yourself down, and you're not presenting the best version of yourself. You're actually presenting the worst version of yourself. So who would want to date a bad version of someone?
Also, the same thing goes to men who are putting themselves down and pedestalizing their own women. The women that they date, maybe their wives, something similar to, I wouldn't be anything if not for her. She's the best thing that has happened to me. I'm very lucky to have had chance to be with her. When you put yourself down and try to elevate your partner, you are essentially saying to her, you are an idiot who picked me because I'm worthless. And what do you think that does to her ego? There you go.
Number 3 is guys who do not work out or stay in shape. With modern day men in society, a very popular look is the skinny boy kind of twig look, and it's very popular on social media yet again. Now, although this is popular on social media such as TikTok or Instagram and such, a girl wants a boy who can pick him up. If my boy's arms were smaller than mine, 1, that would make me feel self-conscious, and 2, it just would not be attractive. Now, although no one ever says it, physical attributes in a man are extremely attractive. People always think that that is a bad thing, but just because you're attracted to how someone looks does not mean it's a bad thing.
I think she's being in the middle of her transitioning phase where she starts to admire more mature, older men instead of young boys. This is why she develops these kind of preferences about men having muscular physiques. But teenage boys have growing bodies, and most often than not, they look kind of twiggy and very thin. Also, having a good body when you're 20 years old, not that hard. But having six-pack when you're 35, 40, now that's an achievement.
Obviously, personality is a huge thing as well, but physical attributes also just increases attractiveness so much. So basically, if you're trying to follow this whole skinny boy, feminine thing, because girls are saying that they want a guy that's more feminine, it just won't work out because a girl in a relationship wants to feel small. They want to feel feminine. And if their guy is equally as small as them, they're going to kind of feel like the man in the relationship. So hit the gym and try to make some gains.
Hit the gym, make some gains. But gains should last lifelong. Having a beach body when you're on a college team or whatnot is easier than to maintain a good physique when you're running a family, a business, and having 100 things to juggle in between. It's more impressive to have a good physique when you're an older man. Also, notice that she hasn't mentioned anything about status, money, position in society, because she's young. She's not interested about those kind of things. She's telling you about the things that she finds arousing at the certain point of time in her life. The more alpha, bad boy qualities. But as she grows older, she will become more interested in safety, security, and thus will seek someone who could provide her a better life, someone who is more suitable to walk along her, or if he's masculine enough, someone she could walk alongside.
Number 4 is boys who care a lot about their status. What I mean by this is boys who really care about what they put on social media or online or what the public thinks of them versus how they actually interact with another human face to face. So you'll have some boys that are posting all these crazy pictures, making it look like they're having so much fun and that they're just such a cool guy, and then you meet them in person and they have zero social skills whatsoever. Basically, if they care more about looking cool than actually being a cool person, that is not attractive whatsoever. Also, the whole reason I'm even talking about this topic is because a lot of guys I know and guys that I interact with at school and such, they're kind of cringy.
You see, the guy she's talking to, the guy she's interacting with, she's not describing the type of man that all women between the all ages are interested in. And this plays a huge difference. As I said before, a woman's criteria for a perfect man changes as she grows older, matures. A 20-year-old girl is not interested in same type of man as 50-year-old woman, whereas a 16-year-old boy is interested in the same type of women as 60-year-old guy. The type of dudes that she describes who are very concerned about their appearances on social media are not doing that because of status. They're doing that because femininity. They're feminine. They care about others' perception of them. They want a good reputation. They want good attention instead of being busy with building something substantial. Because they're young, they haven't matured yet. It takes a long time for a man to become a man, and the guys she's complaining about are not there yet. So she has to shift her gears and try to look for someone older.
Every person I come in contact with in modern day society is not a man. I take a look at my brothers and my dad and people that I know that are more family related or older, and they seem much more manly and put together. And obviously age comes into play, but it just seems like a lot of people nowadays are not being who they really are, and they're trying to fit into this mold of society.
I guess she's more conservative, and she has some good examples in her family members, brothers and father and so on, which makes it harder for her to date someone who is less of a man than them. A good example which narrows down the pool of dating potentials. Men are not men because they are taught to be feminine, they're taught to be in touch with their feminine side and feelings and show emotions and not be toxic and stuff like that. And I think you know what's the deal is. Manhood is seen to be toxic. Thus, we have to eradicate it. For everyone to come together and sing Kumbaya and be happy, go lucky. Removing masculinity is like shooting yourself in the foot. I'm not arguing for anything. I'm just saying that you do you and observe as society moves on so you can adapt and evolve. What do you think? Do you have something to add? Leave a comment down below and watch some more videos about gender dynamics. But for now, Daddy out.